There has been a malfunction with the last upload. You can't hear about the first 24 minutes, so I'm going to try again now. It's December the 8th, 2024, and we are looking at an extremely rough edit of a deposition that's being created due to extreme exhaustion. It is difficult to move forward. So the best option here is to stop and read, because we're going to go in and listen to a woman speak the truth about the conspiracy to deny inalienable rights. So Section 7 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms is equivalent to the 7th Amendment. Section 12 is the right to not be, destroyed by cruel and unusual treatment. Section 7, right? The right to life, liberty, and security. So Section 12. Constitutional violations. So I'm experiencing this abuse constantly. So I've been invited on December the 12th. There's an invitation that's been extended on December the 12th to attend a crime, to be part of a crime. The invitation is declined for a myriad of lawful reasons, one of which is Section 21 of the Criminal Code of Canada. It reads, everyone who is a party to an offense who actually commits it or does or omits to do anything for the purpose of aiding any person to commit it or abets any person in committing it. You are hearing lawful reasons for non-compliance. Lawful reasons for non-compliance. Invitation denied. Invitation dismissed. So this is happening to me constantly. I am robbed. My family is robbed. My family and I are robbed. We are robbed of our property. And then the criminal contacts other criminals, and now we've got the victim of the crime now being pursued falsely. And here we've got, this is from August 2020, after they've stolen private property and left an innocent woman for dead. Here we hear, this is nothing but garbage right here. An undertaking. Now we're going to go in and listen to a woman speak about all of this. So this is why we're taking a quick look at these documents, so I can show you, because some people learn better by listening and some people learn better by visual aids. So this is why all of this is included. I understand all of this. I'm the woman who's the center of this hatred and this pursuit. Warrant for arrest. Oh yeah, no. So as we can see here in this undertaking, so quite obviously, this is dealing with the dead. There's an invitation extended for the 25th of January 2024, pursuant to this hate crime that's occurring by a criminal who is in possession of over $50,000 worth of stolen property that belongs to the Honorable House of Daly. Now, I did not attend that invitation. I am not required to attend an invitation pursuant to Section 21 of the Criminal Code of Canada and the Multiculturalism Act, and about every law maxim you could ever read or be aware of. This is cruel and unusual treatment because both detachments, Victoria and Saanich, criminal organizations, were made aware that this crime was occurring and chose to aid and abet the criminals committing the crime. Every single time I am offered a contract, this is an adhesion contract that's been offered to me, every single time the same thing is recorded, vi coactus. You cannot contract with a woman when you are uttering threats, when you are causing her to be in distress, when you are intimidating and treating anyone with cruel and unusual treatment and punishment under duress. That's exactly how this was. We are not the accused. We are not the accused. We are not the prisoner. We are not a ward of the court. We are not a citizen. We are not a resident. We are not a thing. We are not a subject. Okay, so I talk about all of this again. Just stop the screen, read. Because this is what's going on here, right? This is all just absolute fiction. It's all fiction. Everything they're up to is fiction. Again, stop, read. Okay, so every time you go and obtain, well, a person with a barf card, you are aiding and abetting the crime of impersonation. These persons are impersonating you. They're impersonating you as a corporation. This beast and all of its services can only do business with a corporation. What is dead? What has no voice? What has no eyes? What has no ears? So that means then all of the individuals who go out there and put a monkey in the middle, that's mediumship, right? Do not turn to mediums. It's identity theft. Every person commits an offense who obtains or possesses another person's identity information with intent to use it to commit an indictable offense. Any person who, with intent to defraud any person, falsely represents himself or herself to be some other person. Well, that's exactly what every single BARF member is doing every single fucking day. That's exactly what they're doing. Are you allowing that? We, the peculiar people, will not allow this. You understand this, right? Let me read it one more time. Any person who, with intent to defraud any person, falsely represents himself or herself to be some other person, living or dead, real or fictitious. That's what they're up to. Personation appears as a crime in the Criminal Code, the Canadian Criminal Code, with the meaning simply of impersonation. Identity fraud. Section 403 of the Code makes it an offense to fraudulently impersonate another person, living or dead, in order to gain property or financial benefit. Well, what happens? What happens when you go hire a BARF member? Does that BARF member then gain property and gain financial benefit from you allowing them to be you? To impersonate you? And that's how they make a living. By defrauding you, because you allow it. So you're aiding and abetting their crimes. So who's part of the problem and who's part of the solution? Again, stop, read. I can't go through this. I don't have a lot of storage left on my appliance. Mortgage fraud. So the Honourable House of Daling is being forced, and have been since 2019, forced to be guilty of mortgage fraud against our will, our conscience, and our culture. We are being forced to aid and abet, not once but twice, mortgage fraud. Fraudulent concealment of title documents. Fraudulent registration of title. Well, that's exactly what Graham Mack and Daniel Carroll of Kamloops, British Columbia, two liars for RICO CIBC, did in 2018. That's exactly what their crime is. It's under Section 386. Right, commit fraud. So they've committed identity theft by impersonating my spouse and my spouse and myself. They have impersonated both of us, claiming to be the true owner of that lot and everything on the lot to facilitate money laundering. It's a big problem here in Canada. So here we're looking at a document, a release order, right, from August the 30th, of which my autograph is not here. September the 4th, I lay out every single fucking reason, every single lawful reason why we will not be complying. We will not be complying. And then again in October, because I'm being criminally harassed by a myriad of criminals acting as Rico Saanich PD, the demonic fucking degenerate detachment of sociopathic, sadistic snakes. I let them know again on the 23rd of October, all of your assumptions and all of your presumptions are now rebutted. Stop coming to the fucking door. Stop fucking calling. Just stop everything you're doing. Stop it. Have you read Section 21 of the Criminal Code of Canada? We will not be partaking in your crimes. For years, I have been saying something. Once they began to steal everything, I was constantly fighting for my life, as I still fight for my life right now. So what every single savage is doing is committing a crime under Section 262 of the Criminal Code of Canada. Every person is guilty of an indictable offense and liable to imprisonment for a term of not more than 10 years, or is guilty of an offense punishable on summary conviction who prevents or impedes or attempts to prevent or impede men and women who are attempting to save their own lives. Do you know why I keep saying something? Do you know why I'm still in the ring? Do you know why the war is still going on? Because I have an obligation, duty, and responsibility to try to save all these witches' lives. Because if I don't say something, then I'm committing a crime under Section 262 of the Criminal Code of Canada. Oh, look at this. This is one of the poisonous, pathetic parasites who's about to have... Well, life is about to change for you there, savage. So let's all understand that you have to have a warrant for an arrest. Now, stop this, read. Again, stop, read. Remember, this is a deposition that hasn't been edited. This is it's an imperfect document at this point, but I'm wiped out. So let's see now what's happened at the end of August and now in November. What has happened is every person has committed the offense of kidnapping. These persons have kidnapped the woman that you're listening to, to hold this woman for ransom and for service against this woman's will. That's exactly what they're doing. So we've got kidnapping, and then we've got, of course, the forcible confinement. The first time, 21 hours of torture. The fucking second time they've done this, it was 24 hours of torture. Forcible confinement, summary conviction. Yeah, we talk about that too. Now I want to show you that these beasts are the ones that actually teach you that you are a corporation. Take a look at this. This was created by this mindless monkey, malicious monkey Murray. This is this thing's number, officer number. This is this thing's signature. And take a look at this. There's a shaded area here, because I'm going to show you how I took care of this extortion attempt. Motor Vehicle Act, that's not a law. That's a guideline only. Anyway, let me show you how I took care of this. So this is September 25th, 2024. Again, I don't have time. I'm running out of storage, so I can't actually read this to you. But if you stop and read this, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I have not heard a word. I have not heard a word. I got nothing via email. I got nothing in the mail. Nothing. So what they've done, and they're constantly doing this crime, is extortion. It's constant. So, on the 4th of September, I provided lawful reasons for non-compliance. So that means there's not a parasite acting as a prosecutor who then can go and obtain a warrant for arrest. And yet this is dated September the 5th. So now we've got misconduct happening by a prosecutor. We've got fraud happening. And as we can all see, this document has not been endorsed. You have to have at least 2 witnesses. At least, at minimum. 3 is better, but 2 is non-negotiable. This is non-endorsed. You can't endorse it. You couldn't. Intimidation, stop and read. Because I'm letting them know, let's to cease and desist. They were repeatedly informed. Both of these mindless monkeys, both of these criminals, indictable crime committing criminals, they were both told repeatedly to stop. Because they're guilty of criminal harassment. The manager over here of this criminal organization and its partner in hate crimes are both guilty of criminal harassment. So they have to follow all of this. Like, you have to. Again, stop and read. I don't have time. So they're torturing. They're guilty of torture and they're guilty of mistreatment. Guilty. Whereas Canada, no such thing, is a party to a number of international agreements that prohibit torture and other cruel and degrading treatment and punishment. Wow, so who the fuck enforces all of this? Because it's not the Prime Minister and it's not the pathetic parasite over here in British Columbia pretending to be the head hog, top dog. Torture, it's in the criminal code. Torture means any act or omission by which severe pain and suffering, whether physical or mental, is intentionally inflicted. Well, they're constantly doing this to my family. They've been doing it for fucking years. So what they're doing is, it's a trespass. A tort isn't, that's just legal fucking bullshit. It's a trespass. A tort is a trespass. I talk about this too, so stop and read. Again. Right, so who did this? Oh, that's right. It's this malicious, mindless monkey Murray has called in and lied. You've called in and lied. You don't have an endorsed warrant, which means you can't call in and obtain to enter a dwelling house. So what you got a bunch of fraud here. You got a bunch of fraudulent documents. And now you've got someone else here acting as something that doesn't exist who's aided and abetted your hate crime. Oh, and take a look here. I'll let you stop and read that. I'll let you stop and read this because I'm going to talk about it. We're going to listen to a woman talk about all of this. So let's take a look here at some more financial damage that's been intentionally caused to this innocent woman right here. Because Murdoch and Duthie refused to take responsibility for their hate crimes and the damage that they intentionally, willingly, knowingly caused to private property. So these are the wounds. These wounds are days old when these photos are taken. The wounds are much worse than this after it happened. So they're guilty of common nuisance. I'll let you stop and read that. Well, they've caused injury and they've done it on purpose. Like, I'm still... Right, so let's take a look at here. We've got an invitation extended for December the 12th, and their equipment isn't working properly because you can't see that I have recorded my autograph with Vicoactus. Like, no thank you, thanks very much. And now let's go over fucking again all the lawful reasons of why I will not comply. We will not comply. Lawful reasons why we will not comply. Law maxim. A claim and exercise of a Canadian charter right cannot be converted into a crime. Well, there's a lawful reason. Right there. A right once vested cannot be divested. Well, that's exactly what you're trying to do to me again. This is just... Autograph of foreign woman recorded by coactus, Latin for having been forced, having been compelled, as this woman in need of protection from high-risk offenders knows the law. Consent makes the law. A contract is a law between the parties which can acquire force only by consent. Consent, in fact, is what makes the law. This woman maintains and reserves in perpetuity natural common law rights, knowing all federal, provincial statutes, bylaws, administrative codes, private bar court rules are constructed as contracts. Canadian citizens acting in color of office roles of fiction cannot force this woman into performance using intimidation, coercion, threats, duress, discrimination, extortion, racism, and hate. I have denied offer of service. This woman denies offers of service. By oath, perjurers, high-risk offenders, in fact, war criminals. November 21. Well, that's when they've tried to force this. They're trying to force an innocent woman into aiding and abetting their crimes. That's not going to happen. Law maxim. Those who are silent appear to consent, and that applies to both sides. Law maxim. Those who do not disapprove, approve. Conditional law for a public service does not meet essentials of a contract. Persons acting as adjudicator, prosecutor are not of sound mind and capable, cannot prove subject matter jurisdiction, offered no legal consideration, refuse mutuality of agreement and obligation, therefore conditions of release are unenforceable.